Secretary Defence and Urban Development, Mr. Gotabaya Rajapaksa, our chief guest at his inaugural South and South Asian Nations Defence Chief Dialogue, Secretary to the President, Mr. Rajbir Tunga, Honorable Deputy Minister of Defence of Russia, Your Excellencies from home and abroad, Chiefs of Defence Staff from South and Southeast Asia and their representatives, Secretary to the Ministry of Law and Order, Service Commanders of Sri Lanka and Inspector General of Police, distinguished delegates and guests from home and abroad. We in Asia and Southeast Asia are moving through a significant switch in contemporary history. Asia in particular, South and Southeast Asia are propelling into a geopolitical prominence with the rapid transition in economic and demographic dynamics. Asia will be the most populous region in the world by 2050. It will be complemented by a youth bulge, which will have an exponential impact on security and stability in the region. The rapid growth in the Asian economies will regenerate the expansion of trade and transfer of resources in and out of the region. This resurgence will exert a pull on the geostrategic interests of extra-regional powers. Amidst this transition, Sri Lanka is emerging as one of the most peaceful and stable states in Asia, ascending the cycle of post-conflict revival triggered by a successful counter-insurgency campaign. The insurgency, though essentially an intra-state conflict, had its spillover effects on an impact on the region and beyond. The Liberation Tigers of Tamil Nadu, commonly referred to as the LTT, began as a military organization in the late 70s and developed its political structures in time. It waged guerrilla war and advocated a finer points of suicide bombing, engaging child soldiers and arms trafficking. The LTT international network spread east and west of the Indian Ocean for supplies and transshipment. The insurgency was boosted with military hardware acquired from newly independent republics of the former Soviet Union in 1991. LTT also expanded its fleet of deep-sea going ships and gained clandestine access to ports and in Southeast Asia, particularly Indonesia and Thailand. Mass immigration of Tamils to the west and Europe seeking political asylum became a social concern as they bred criminal influence wherever they landed. Diplomatic efforts commencing from 1990 resulted in the LTT being banned in India in 1992, Malaysia in 1996, the USA in 1997, the UK and Australia in 2001, Canada and the European Union in 2006. Though officially banned, the LTT was able to exert pressure on the international community through the diaspora. The international community was influenced to favor a political solution over a military intervention. Political engagements failed miserably in the face of intransigence of the LTT, who made use of a multitude of such opportunities to bargain for time to regroup and re-equip its fighting outfit. Thus, by July 2006, when the final push to destroy the LTT was launched, it was in possession of a conventional fighting capability on land, a naval wing, an air wing, a suicide commando wing, and a strong diaspora with the capacity for international fundraising. The timely initiative to neutralize the LTT militarily preempted any latent risk to the region and beyond. Thus, the dividends of Sri Lanka's success at defeating terrorism permeate beyond her boundaries. The call for an international investigation into the situation in Sri Lanka by the Human Rights Council of the United Nations emanated barely a week after the defeat of terrorism, which reunited the country 5 years ago. The ill-conceived resolution on Sri Lanka, adopted in March 2014, resulting from politicized action, diaspora compulsion, and reports not mandated by the intergovernmental process lacks legitimacy and credibility. It is completely unwarranted and for that reason rejected by the government of Sri Lanka. The resolution against Sri Lanka is a result of the collusion between some countries that support action against Sri Lanka and some extreme elements of Sri Lankan Tamil diaspora with vested interests. The fact that some of these diaspora elements were accredited as members of a country's delegation at the 22nd Human Rights Council sets an alarming precedent. This decision by the European Court of Justice to lift the ban on the LTT on 13th October 2014 gives the fillip to the diaspora and retards the reconciliation process. Notwithstanding these distractions, in the 5 years since the defeat of terrorism, Sri Lanka has made significant strides in the reconciliation process. In 2013, the government of Sri Lanka has made public the continuing progress made in implementing the National Plan of Action towards the implementation of the recommendations of the Lessons Learned and Reconciliation Commission, the homegrown reconciliation mechanism in Sri Lanka. The government of Sri Lanka is presently in the process of integrating into the National Plan of Action further recommendations made by the LLRC. These are in addition to the majority of the recommendations which were deemed most significant and incorporated in the National Plan of Action for immediate implementation by 22 key government agencies in July 2013. All 295,873 IDPs resulting from the ending of the conflict have been successfully integrated, with the last batch of IDPs having been resettled in September 2012. 90% of the 2,064 square kilometers left contaminated with landmines and UXOs due to the conflict have been demined as of today. Over 961,447 explosive devices have been recovered. Approximately 12,000 ex-LTT combatants were arrested or surrendered at the end of the conflict. Out of these, 11,551 persons, including 594 child soldiers, have been rehabilitated and reintegrated into the society. Among those rehabilitated, 212 youth who were previously pursuing tertiary education were re-inducted into the university system to follow the undergraduate studies. Legal proceedings have been instituted against 194 ex-combatants who are under judicially mandated custody, remanded or enlarged on bail by court. The presence of security forces personnel in the Jaffna Peninsula and the islands, which was over 50,000 at the height of the conflict, has now been reduced to approximately 13,000. The government continues to focus on infrastructure development in the northern and eastern provinces through considerable public investment in road construction, power generation and transmission, port development and extension of railway lines, etc. Despite genuine desire to defeat terrorism, foster reconciliation, and through it restore peace and harmony, Sri Lanka is being negatively influenced by extra-regional forces via international agencies. Such action has caused mistrust about international processes among the people of Sri Lanka and also negatively impacted our reconciliation efforts. Sri Lanka and the region will continue to be exposed to challenges by non-state actors and influenced by extra-regional forces in the future too. New trends in security will take shape in the region. They are likely to manifest through previously dormant security concerns, new aspects of recognized non-traditional security concerns, and emerging security risks. Territorial disputes, military modernization, and arms race may figure prominently in the first category. The second may involve maritime security, disaster response, and cyber security. Emerging security risks concern the environment, food, water and energy, security, migration, and challenges posed by demographic changes will necessitate due attention as well. Confronting these will demand a collective approach with mutual understanding. The Conference on Interaction and Confidence Building Measures in Asia, SICA, mooted in 1992, encompasses the largest membership among regional organizations in Asia, engaged in promoting security and stability. It provides multinational forum for enhancing cooperation towards promoting peace and stability in Asia and brings together political leadership in the region. The member states of SICA, while affirming their commitment to the UN Charter, believe that peace and security in Asia can be achieved through dialogue and cooperation, leading to a common, indivisible area of security in Asia, where all states coexist peacefully and their people live in peace, freedom, and prosperity. Sri Lanka take pride in initiating the South and Southeast Asian nations, ASEAN, Defence Chief Dialogue as a regular common forum for the Defence Chiefs of Asia to meet and foster security and stability through structured dialogue in pursuance of sustainable peace, leading to development and prosperity, following on the commitment of the Conference on Interaction and Confidence Building Measures in Asia. It is envisaged that the ASEAN Defence Chief Dialogue shall complement SICA and other regional efforts which are promoting security through dialogue and cooperation. The ASEAN Forum will strive to promote regional peace and stability through dialogue and cooperation in the spheres of defense and security. Promote mutual trust and confidence through greater understanding of defense and security challenges, transparency and openness, and subsequently contribute to the establishment of ASEAN Security Community, SSC. I wish to reiterate that the ASEAN Security Committee will not replicate an alliance of defense forces such as those during the Cold War, but will complement the objectives of SICA through dialogue and mutual understanding. I feel privileged to welcome the Deputy Defense Minister of Russia, Chiefs of Defense Staff and their representatives to this inaugural ASEAN Defense Chief Dialogue hosted in Sri Lanka. We appreciate your commitment towards this initiative and look forward to a very meaningful dialogue. I welcome all the distinguished guests present at this opening session. I wish to acknowledge the support and encouragement extended by the Secretary of Defense and Urban Development of Sri Lanka to realize my idea of a common forum for the Chiefs of Defence Staff of South and Southeast Asia, and I thank him for gracing this historic occasion as the chief guest. It is our fervent hope that this inaugural meeting will pave the way forward for the ASEAN Defence Chief Dialogue to continue annually, hosted in turn by the member states. In conclusion, I wish the delegates at the inaugural ASEAN Defence Chief Dialogue a rewarding engagement that would galvanize our bonds of friendship, leading to a deeper mutual understanding and trust. I wish all the guests from overseas a pleasant experience of Sri Lanka. Let me now take this privilege of introducing the eminent keynote speaker, Mr. Gotabaya Rajapaksa, the Secretary of Defence and Urban Development of Sri Lanka. Distinguished guests, Mr. Gotabaya Rajapaksa joined the Sri Lanka Army in 1971 and rose to command an infantry regiment in 1989. He engaged actively in combat, leading troops successfully during all major operations conducted by the Sri Lanka Army. He also functioned in key staff appointments at Army headquarters, as well as formation headquarters and instructional appointments at the Army Training Centre, Jitala, and the Kotalaga Defence Academy, Ratmalana, which has now gained the status of a degree-awarding university. He underwent military education and training successfully in India, Pakistan, and the United States of America, and graduated from the Defence Services Staff College in Wellington, India in 1983. He retired from the regular force of Sri Lanka Army in 1991. He took up the responsibility of spearheading the successful counterinsurgency campaign against LTT terrorists as the Secretary Ministry of Defence in 2005, when His Excellency Mahinda Rajapaksa, the Executive President of the Democratic Social Republic of Sri Lanka, decided to bring an experienced former officer of the Sri Lanka Army to lead the counterinsurgency campaign. The Secretary of Defence became the architect of the entire counterinsurgency campaign until the termination of the operations on 18 May 2009. With His Excellency the President providing the unprecedented political leadership that was required to successfully eliminate the terrorist organization. He was assigned the added responsibility of urban development and appointed Secretary Ministry of Defence and Urban Development in 2009 upon the successful termination of the counter-insurgency campaign. He has been instrumental in transforming the city of Colombo to its modern splendor in his new assignment, and is currently extending his focus towards the periphery. It is my pleasure to invite Mr. Gotabaya Rajapaksa to deliver the keynote address. Thank you very much.